I was very fortunate in that I grew up with parents who were very supportive of me doing and being whatever I wanted to do and be. I was the first girl in my neighborhood to have a paper route. I was the first girl at my school to take industrial arts. I was the first girl in my school to, play trumpet. I went to Annapolis, and when I entered the Navy, it was the policy prior to Don't Ask, Don't Tell. And at that time, you just absolutely couldn't be gay. It was a very aggressive situation where people were proactively going out and trying to hunt you down and find you and kick you out. I came out publicly in January of 1993 at a rally, a political rally at Moffett Naval Air Station outside of Mountain View. I wanted to bring a female voice into the conversation. In my speech, I said I'm both a naval officer and a lesbian, and I refuse to live a lie anymore. What Clinton ended up eking out was this Don't Ask, Don't Tell policy, and they continued just, hunting down people and harassing and pursuing. So the only part that was actually implemented in the Don't Ask, Don't Tell, Don't Harass, Don't Pursue, all they cared about was don't tell. Mine was sort of a unique exception. I was one of the very first test cases under Don't Ask, Don't Tell, and I think there was still some confusion as to how one prosecutes one, how one defends it, and so we took a specific defense strategy without getting into the nitty-gritty legal details. Don't Ask, Don't Tell basically assumes if you make a statement that you're gay or lesbian, they presume conduct. So you have to sort of rebut the presumption of conduct, and the way in that we did that is for me to take the stand and say, look, when I said that I'm a lesbian, I was talking about who I am, I wasn't talking about anything else. And the Board of Officers found in my favor. So even though I was allowed to be an out lesbian during those 13 years, I couldn't say it again, and I couldn't admit that I was ever in a romantic relationship with another woman. Pam's been great, and I think the fact that she served herself and served under the policy prior to Don't Ask, Don't Tell, she can really relate to what I'm doing. She's more of an introvert than I am, so I think she's happy to kind of have me be out there sort of in the public and her supporting more in the background. Most of the reaction that I got when I first came out from my shipmates was about, why would you risk your career like that? Like, we really like working with you, and now you've put that at risk. Can't you just be quiet? Can't you just keep your personal life and your professional life separate? And so there was definitely some education to be done there around how we all bring our personal lives to our professional lives. Like, you can't completely segment them. They didn't really get that I was actually trying to make the military stronger, that it wasn't about shaming the military, it was about shaming this policy that was hurting the military. San Francisco has a gay pride parade every year, and one of my favorite contingents is the Alexander Hamilton Post. It's the only all-gay American Legion post in the country. The first one I ever marched in was right after I came out in 1993. To be able to do that after hiding in the closet for so long was, amazing.
Thank you so much, love.
Absolutely.
I'm so proud.
I'm so proud of you guys.
My mother always said, if you're not part of the solution, you're part of the problem. And it was very much reinforced whenever you see something wrong, what are you going to do about it? In all of these years that I'd been advocating for the repeal of Don't Ask, Don't Tell, I did it through 8 years of the Bush administration. I did it, through the end of the Clinton administration, where you knew he wasn't going to change a policy that he'd created. And so when President Obama was elected, there was sort of new hope, and we really accelerated our efforts on Capitol Hill to get Don't Ask, Don't Tell repealed. But the key element that we never had before was Pentagon support.
No matter how I look at this issue, I cannot escape being troubled by the fact that we have in place a policy which forces young men and women to lie about who they are in order to defend their fellow citizens.
Tears ran down my face because I knew that we had hit the tipping point. I knew that in all of these years of advocacy, we had the senior most uniformed member of the military on board. And not on board for utilitarian reasons, not because it cost a lot of money or we were discharging qualified linguists or and in these other talking points that we had used on Capitol Hill. He understood it to his core that it was an issue of integrity. There was a vote in early December of 2010, and I flew in on a red eye, and I took a cab from Dulles all the way to the Capitol to sit in the Senate chambers when they were going to vote on the bill.
When the gay lobby started becoming active at that time, during the Clinton administration, they said, we want to change the policy. And that's why they went through this thing called Don't Ask, Don't Tell, which allows people to serve regardless of what their conditions are, their preferences are, but they don't talk about it. They don't use the military as a forum to advance their liberal agenda.
And I sat there and watched the bill go down to defeat. It was attached to the Defense Authorization Bill, which is the funding bill for the whole military. I just really thought, I don't know if I can do this for 2 more years. I can't wait for the next Congress to get elected after this. Like, I'm at the end of my strength.
I am Zoe Dunning, and I am mad. I am mad as hell about what happened yesterday in the Senate. Are you mad? Yeah! We are here to tell the Senate, don't go home until business is done.
It took its toll, I think, just in terms of being able to relax and allow myself to be vulnerable, allow myself to be imperfect. I think there's a lot to be said for that in terms of being a complete person and a complete leader, in all honesty.
I saw them kick us in the face and kick us in the teeth and say, no, not now. And I say, if not now, when?
And then I was on Twitter that night, and Senator Lieberman and Senator Susan Collins announced that they were going to introduce a standalone bill that would repeal Don't Ask, Don't Tell. So on December 18th, I went down to the LGBT Community Center in San Francisco, and we had this watch party where we watched the Senate vote live together. It was just such a celebratory moment. Like, that was it. You know, I knew that the president was going to sign it. Like, that was what he'd been working for 20 years, was that vote.
For we are not a nation that says, don't ask, don't tell. We are a nation that says, out of many, we are one. We are a nation that welcomes the service of every patriot. We are a nation that believes that all men and women are created equal. Those are the ideals that generations have fought for. Those are the ideals that we uphold today. And now it is my honor to sign this bill into law.
On stage was this silver X with Dunning written on it, and like every good military gal, I went and stood on my X. But I'm still standing on my X, and the president's like beckoning me over, and I don't feel like I'm allowed to. And finally, like literally, Vice President Biden's like pushing me over next to the desk, and I'm standing, within arm's length of the President of the United States while he signs this bill. I couldn't believe that I was actually witnessing this moment that I'd been working so hard for. I thought, well, what could possibly go wrong now? I mean, it's actually happening. Like, what could go wrong now? And so I just sort of blurted out to the president, make sure you spell it right, in my outside voice. It's so rare that you work on an issue and you get to have such a distinct moment where victory is clear.
This is done.
There's a great saying by Jolie Justice, who's a state senator in Missouri, and she says, if you don't have a seat at the table, you're probably on the menu. And I really believe that. I really believe that in order for women to be represented in policy-making decisions and in order for gays and lesbians to be represented in policy decisions, they have to have a seat at the table.
I was so proud to marry Sandy and Chris, and happy Pride, everyone. Let's go out there and let our voices be heard and just celebrate on the Zoe today.
One of the things I was very attracted to at the military is that it's bigger than yourself. You're contributing to something larger than just your immediate sphere.
Yeah. Well, it's exciting. We have a lot of work to do.
I feel like I've been at the right place at the right time on the right issue to have hopefully made a difference and to have left behind some sort of a legacy that allowed folks to be openly gay in the military without fear of losing their careers and their jobs, and to just be their authentic selves, and that feels really, really good.